Hi, Mathieu.
Hello.
Hello.
So Mathieu Desvé is our next speaker, and Mathieu is a solution architect at AWS. He's a technology enthusiast, maker on his free time, and he likes challenges and solve problems of clients and users. He works with talented people to learn every day. And today he will talk to us about the AWS ML vision, which is making machine learning accessible to all customers.
Awesome. I'm just going to add the video to the stream and then we'll turn it back to the Q&A.
Hello, I'm Mathieu, Solution Architect at AWS. Thank you for joining, and I hope that you will enjoy that session. Today, we will learn the AWS vision and services for machine learning, and how to convert a notebook to train on SageMaker. You will need, during the presentation, to connect to a temporary AWS account, so we will get to that. So let's jump into it. The AWS vision is to make the machine learning accessible to all the customer. If you are developer, data scientist, or business owner, doesn't matter, we have some service for you. The AWS ML stack is composed of 3 layers. The bottom layer is all the infrastructure where you can find the GPU, the CPU, the AMI for the most popular frameworks. On the top layer, you have the AI services. It's the machine learning model that is bundled as an API, so you can leverage them to enhance your application and provide some amazing feature for your user. And the middle stack is the SageMaker, and we will go deep into that. This year, we've signed a partnership with Hugging Face that will reinforce the AWS vision. And that partnership focuses on NLP and how to make it easy and accessible for everyone. With these new partnerships, you can now leverage the DLC container that is developed with Hugging Face to train and do the inference for your favorite frameworks. We also provide an estimator directly integrated in the SageMaker SDK that helps to deploy NLP script and train it on SageMaker. We have a comprehensive gallery of examples that you can find online. And support-wise, it's maintained and supported by AWS. So now that you have an overview of the AWS offer, let's dive deep into the SageMaker architecture and how it works. Everything starts with a notebook. It could be something else, but usually it's what we have. That notebook can run on SageMaker or on your laptop. Inside that notebook, you will use the SageMaker SDK. With the SageMaker SDK, you will call the method fit on your estimator that will launch a training job. This training job will leverage an ECR registry where all the DLC for all the frameworks are stored. We'll train and output the model to AWS S3. So now that you have your model, you can then deploy your model using the SDK. So you will call the deploy method, and that will create a model inside SageMaker that will reference the model that you have stored in S3. From there, the SDK will continue by creating an endpoint configuration and then an endpoint. Of course, this endpoint will leverage the endpoint configuration, and the endpoint configuration will leverage the model. Then the endpoint will pull the image from the registry to serve your request, and your users can access the inference from the endpoint. So now that you understand the SageMaker architecture, let's do an example by modifying an existing notebook to train it on SageMaker. So today we will use that particular repository as an example. So I already checked out on my computer, and as you can see in the train the notebook, we have all the notebook with the imports, we read the data, we define the model and the tokenizer, we process the data to split it. After, we just create the data sets. We compile the model with Keras, and after we call the method fit. After the training is done, we save the model and we do a bit of evaluation. So the goal today is to take that script and convert it to SageMaker. In VS Code, I can just say export to Python script. And here I will remove all the unnecessary comments. Now we have a clean script. When SageMaker will call your script, it will pass a couple of parameters with to know where is the location of your data and the output of your model. Let's parse those arguments. For that, we will need to import a couple of libraries and create a function wrapper. Then we will need to use this parameter inside our script. As you can see there, we have a custom hyperparameter that is called epoch. So we will use it also to dynamize our script. Last thing is the model evaluation. We don't have specifically an interface because we are in script mode. So we will need to export a JSON with the model to be able to evaluate it. Now we are good. Let's just save this file. We'll create a new folder called script and create the train.p file. Our script is ready. So we will start a new notebook and use the SageMaker SDK to create and train our model. First thing, we need to import the SageMaker SDK and create a couple of variables to store the session, the role execution, the EIM role that will be used by SageMaker to train our model, the bucket where we will save our model artifact, and a prefix inside that bucket to make sure it's well organized. For the moment, our data live inside the project, so we will transfer them to S3 to be able for SageMaker to use it inside a training job. We're gonna import the Boto3 SDK and upload it to S3. We can start using the SageMaker SDK to create the Hugging Face SC Matter. There you can see that we specify the endpoint with our training job. We precise the source directory that is script. All the code inside script will be sent to S3 and host inside the deep learning container. We were gonna use a P3 2x large for that training. only one, and we can precise the framework's version. Here you have your hyperparameter where you can pass some custom variable to your script, like the epoch one. Now we have everything, so we just need to call the fit method on our estimator. Inside it, we will pass a channel called train with the information and the path to our data in S3. So let's run the script. No credential error. It's true we didn't set up our AWS account. You should have received an email with the necessary information to connect to the Event Engine platform. So from there, copy your team hash and accept the term of login. For that session, we will use the email one-time password. Type your email and pass the code that you receive inside that email. You are now connected to your team dashboard, so you can click the AWS console button and click Open the AWS console. There you have access to the console, and we will just set up and go to the SageMaker page. But because we are running our script locally inside VS Code, we will need to have some credential to export inside our environment. For that, just come back to your Event Engine tab and grab the key here. Switch back to VS Code and create a .env file where you will print your variables. Remove the export in front of your variable, register it. So now we need to load our environment inside the notebook. So create a new code session and load it with a .env. And clean all the output and run our notebook. Now your job is launched inside SageMaker. So let's see it. So inside SageMaker, go to training and training job. And there you have your training job running, so you can see the details. But also you have all the logs coming inside your notebook. Let's wait the job to complete. The training is now complete, so let's see in SageMaker what's happened. So we can see that the statue is completed, and when you scroll on the bottom, you will see the output. So click on it, and there you have the two output artifacts from the model himself, and the output where you will have the evaluation. So let's download them. So inside the output zip, we have all the information about the model. We also have our model with the hash5 files, the tokenizer, and the config vocabulary. So as you will have if you train it locally. Now that we have our model, we can easily deploy it with the SageMaker SDK. So for that, create a new cell, and from the estimator, call the deploy method. You specify the initial count instance and the instance type. it will create a predictor for you. That process will take a couple of minutes, just the time to deploy the endpoint. Deployment is complete, so let's see in SageMaker what has been created. So if I come back to SageMaker, you see in the inference part that we have one model pointing to our model artifact, a new endpoint configuration with our model selected there. And for traceability, you also have the training job that produced that model, the instance, and the initial count. And finally, the endpoint with the HTTP URL for that. So now that everything is in place, we just have to test our endpoint. For that, we will add a sentence from a movie comment and use the predictor to predict over that sentence. And we see that it's positive at 99%. If you don't use anymore your endpoint, don't be charged for it, you can finish that workshop by just deleting it. For that, use the predictor delete endpoint command. I hope you enjoyed the session and thank you for having me. I cannot wait to see what you will do with SageMaker.
Okay, welcome back, Mathieu.
Thanks.
So I think everything is still online and streaming out, so we're still live. Great. Yes. Maybe Sylvain, I think there's a few questions I saw. Maybe you want to ask Mathieu about his talk.
Sure. So one first question is, so it seems like SageMaker stores the fine-tuned model in S3. Is it also possible to push the model to the Hugging Face hub?
Yes, of course you can. So the script that you will run inside SageMaker is a Python, basic Python script. So you can add your credential in environment var from the hub and push it to the hub. The thing that you will lose with that is to be able to deploy the endpoint with the SageMaker deploy endpoint method, because you rely on the fact that the model is in S3 for that.
That makes sense. And speaking of those endpoints, do the endpoints deployed by SageMaker automatically scale under high load?
So you need a bit of configuration for that to create an alarm inside CloudWatch based on the metric that you will define. And the best way to do it is like to test your model in the load testing environment to define like the threshold. Maybe you will have 1,000 of requests by second that can be handled by one instance. And you can create an alarm from by instance request count, and it will automatically scale against that. And you can precise the maximum number of instances and the minimum number.
Nice. Going back to the models that you used, can I fine-tune any pre-trained model in SageMaker, or are only some architectures supported?
So all the architecture that is supported by Hugging Face can be trained on SageMaker. We directly partner with Hugging Face to include the transformer library and the dataset library directly on the DLC. So everything that is supported by those libraries will be supported in SageMaker.
Very cool, very cool. Another question that we just received on the forum is there any TensorBoard-like tool to monitor model training on SageMaker?
Yes, we have something that is called Model Monitor. So you put some callback and you attach some callback during the training, and it will just send the metrics to it, and you have reports inside the SageMaker Studio IDE where you can have that. And of course, you can leverage TensorBoard also and weight and basis connected to it.
Nice. A question more related to the event for the next 3 days. What kind of GPU/instances can we use during the event?
So you can use the P3 instances, but you can run into some issue of availability with them. So if you encounter those issue, you can switch to a GCAT-DN. That will be a bit slower, but also it's like the new GPU where you can leverage the FP16. So it could be also a good fit for training the models. And also something that I didn't precise because we didn't send the email with the invitation to the event engine. So it will come shortly when we have the team that are built. And so please share your email inside the Google form. And so we can invite you to those accounts.
So maybe it's a good time, Lewis, to show again where we can fill that form if you want to share your screen on the forums.
Sure. 1 second.
So,
so if you're going to be participating in building projects for the course, then we have all these different project ideas on the forums. But this is all under the course category or the course projects category. And the thing that you'll want to look for information is this post about the course projects category. And here there's the information about the kind of rules for the team numbers. And you'll find here that there's a form that you need to fill in to get access. So if you click on that link, this will take you to this Google form. You just need to put in your email and whether or not you want to get some goodies from AWS. And then you just provide your username on the Hugging Face Hub so we can associate you with your account. And then you just provide here the name of the team that you're working on so that we can then figure out which people are working together. So once you've done that, you'll then be given access, I think, from tomorrow to create your SageMaker jobs. And then the last thing you want to do is we have a SageMaker community organization on the hub. And this is also where, if you want, during the training, you can push your models here. So I think we'll learn about this in the next talk. And then you can also deploy your spaces here if you wish. You can deploy your spaces on your own account, but if you want to put them here, you're welcome to do so.
I don't think we had any other questions, Lewis, unless you had something in mind.
No, I think that's it. It was a super nice talk. I like the dancing.
Thanks. He make a bit of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
For having me.